But anyway, check this out. On commerce, the labor carried to the new country will naturally create trade. The first markets will supply only the absolute necessities of life: cattle, grain, working clothes, tools, arms, to mention just a few things. These we shall be obliged at first to procure from neighboring states or from Europe, but we shall make ourselves independent as soon as possible. The Jewish entrepreneurs will soon realize the business prospects that the new country offers. The army of the company's officials will gradually introduce more refined requirements of life. Officials include officers of our defense forces, who will always form about a tenth part of our male colonists. They will be sufficiently numerous to quell mutinies, for the majority of our colonists will be peaceably inclined. The refined requirements of life introduced by our officials in good positions will create a correspondingly improved market, which will continue to better itself. The married man will send for wife and children, and the single for parents and relatives as soon as a new home is established, quote, over there, end quote. The Jews who immigrate to the United States always proceed in this fashion. As soon as one of them has daily bread and a roof over his head, he sends for his people, for family ties are strong amongst us. The Society of Jews and the Jewish Company will unite in caring for and strengthening the family still more, not only morally, but materially also. The officials will receive additional pay on marriage and on the birth of children, for we need all who are there and all who will follow. Just scrolling through this, The Jewish State by Theodor Herzl. What's interesting about this actually is that if you scroll through it, as I scroll through it, did you know that the so-called European Jews, when they were seeking a homeland for themselves after the Holocaust and so forth and so on, persecutions in Europe, on page 65 of The Jewish State by Theodor Herzl, this is mandatory reading for all pioneers and settlers. This document here, this is mandatory reading, mandatory study. And if we find that ones have not followed instructions, they should be booted out the basically straight way, because we really don't have time for that, especially the investment that's being made. But East Africa, let me just give you a portion of this right here. Actually, as a whole, this is, okay, for example, let's see, this is page 65. I said this book is very, very delicate right here. Here's, and we need to get that document up on the internet, the sovereignty.